recording this properly before we get too far on here, because we forgot to do that last night, and that wound up having to do a reproduction of all the recordings, which again was something I did not anticipate. All right, it is Thursday, the 4th of April. I am Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. It is just past about 9:45 Eastern. And in Chattanooga, things are quiet, breezy, and chilly. We have got a lot to talk about, even though there's really nothing going on for right now. We do see the potential of some more rain coming up, and unfortunately that's part of the double whammy of bad news that we have for tonight. We are looking for dry conditions up until next week, and then the best chance of rain will be arriving as we get into right around eclipse time and just afterwards. It looks like April showers might bring us a lot of May flowers, and we do have a few echoes of showers trying to get into the area right now on radar. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. If you are just joining us and you've never been on here before, welcome to the show. This is our online video weather blog, giving you the opportunity wherever you happen to be. If you're in the News 12 viewing area, around southeast Tennessee, northwest Georgia, northeast Alabama, and western North Carolina, that's the area we cover. In a typical on-air weathercast, you get 2, maybe 3 minutes if you're lucky to explain what's going on as part of that half an hour or hour-long newscast. But if you're here, that's a good opportunity to see a little bit more about what may be actually happening. So we'll talk about that. The big weather story of the day is, of course, the forecast that just came out from the Colorado State University tropical forecasting section. We'll talk more about why that is exceptionally not good news in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. We've got a lot to talk about, so why don't we just go ahead and get going for tonight and show you a little bit more about what's happening out there. High temperature today of 58, about 12 degrees below normal. 47 the low temperature. We were just right where we should be on that. And officially no rainfall for today. 15 inches for the year. We're an inch plus behind for the year and half an inch behind for the month. So we've got a decent amount of catching up to do, and that would be nice. That's not going to be happening for the next day or two. Taking a look at our forecast into tomorrow for, again, the kids at the bus stop. No rainfall expected, but it is going to be on the chilly side in the morning, and temperatures about the time the kids head home are about tomorrow where they were today. So not much of a change coming up as we go into Friday or so. Likewise, outdoor forecast, not much good news here. When it comes to warmer weather, if you're looking for much warmer conditions, that's going to be happening as we go into and around the next couple of days toward the week. The weekend looks absolutely excellent, no problem at all. So again, we don't see much taking place there in the way of problems. Likewise, getting out for a round of golf, I would definitely want to make certain I'm wearing a little bit more than a cardigan, because temperatures will be in the mid to upper 50s, and those winds will be a little breezy out of the west-northwest at times, gusting to around 20 miles per hour. Not enough for a wind advisory, but definitely something to pay attention to if you're going to be doing anything outdoors for tonight and into tomorrow, because we're looking at some pretty chilly conditions out there into the next couple of days. Let's take a look and see what's going on for downtown from the area of the News 12 studios on the Patriot Concrete camera. Signal Mountain lights off in the distance, and the towers, transmission towers up there on the heights. Very good visibility for tonight, so we've got some very good conditions out there for seeing. I-24 in both directions, everything moving along pretty well. Our Chattanooga Zoo camera is having some issues. We'll get that back online as soon as we can. Coolidge Park, Tennessee River, the footbridge looking off toward Raccoon Mountain off in the distance, the North Shore neighborhood looking across the river toward downtown on the Speedy's Total Car Care camera. Looking good, clear conditions for right now. A few folks out and about, but not too many. A lot of folks out earlier this evening. Traffic was a little slow last night with those showers moving on through. And as of right now, Interstate 2475 junction, south central Chattanooga, everything moving along very nicely. See how the roads are doing around Lee Point. Highways 153 and 64, kind of hazy off in the distance. Lookout Mountain, bit of a sunset tonight, not by much with those clouds sticking around. And last but not least, from our downtown camera, looking off to the east, a bit of a breeze out there for this evening, and those clouds will be sticking around for a while, but then they'll be heading on out of the picture coming up a little bit later on this evening. So we will see the clouds out of here and some more sunshine coming up, but that's going to take a while to get rid of all of that. Temperatures have dropped, not quite as much as expected earlier, back in the lower 50s. Winds are still a little breezy out of the northwest at about 9 miles per hour. We've gotten rid of most of the rainfall, but we're not done with completely and totally all of it, as we see some more scattered showers into and around the area. Let me get back down to my radar section here so you can see what's going on. Had to rearrange everything after the last couple of events, so unfortunately my graphics are completely and totally out of order at this time. Let's just go ahead and go to the maps and show what's going on here for this evening. We've got some speckles of showers taking place. We'll give the data time to catch up to the wind. The wind particles you see on here, that takes an awful lot of data, so occasionally the computer will throw the graphics the absolute wrong direction. So there's a nice little quick view of Antarctica for you, and one major storm system going on between there and Tierra del Fuego. Back across the Amazon, all the way back up to where we started off. I think we need to get a break button put on here at some point. We've got some minor showers taking place right around the section between middle and eastern Tennessee, and those are dropping down to the southeast. So I-40 between Nashville and Knoxville, and a little bit more activity here might make its way a little farther southward as those wind particles pushing everything out of the west-northwest. I think most of this, if it heads west-northwest, will be over toward Knoxville, Maryville, Sevierville, and that area, and that should do for that. This is all part of that area that moved through a couple of days ago. This is what gave us this severe weather not too long ago, and this is moving its way out to sea. This was over the Great Lakes a couple of days ago, just sort of wobbling around out here, and that's going to again be heading off toward the east, taking the chances of rain and snow with it. This may have been just a low pressure system in the last few days, but now it is basically a true and fairly strong what's called a nor'easter storm, picking up moisture off the Canadian Maritimes and the Atlantic and moving it back over the land surface. Some parts of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York State, back toward Massachusetts, picking up a good portion of snow with this. Now, what we're going to be seeing into the next day or two, high pressure over the Gulf and the lee of the Rockies around the Four Corners area. And then that is basically cutting off any moisture from coming up this direction for now. Our next storm system, this one sitting well across the west into around the Great Basin. This is going to be passing up and over the mountains in the next couple of days, but that's where it gets kind of squashed by the mountains, by the orographic lifting, and by the lower sections of the atmosphere, so it doesn't have a lot of room to maneuver. Once this gets over the mountains in the next couple of days, it's going to get out into the plain states, have a lot more room to maneuver. So this will be our next system getting a little closer to us, but it is going to take a few more days to get all this way. And add to that, that slowing down of this system is going to give our forecast exactly what it doesn't need. More moisture, more clouds coming into the area right about the time of next week's eclipse. Not the forecast that I was hoping for. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit. For tonight, we should be seeing again temperatures quite brisk, back in the lower to mid 30s. Highs tomorrow in the mid to upper 50s. And then we see again, not too bad, but chilly, some frost possible as we go towards Saturday. And then mid to upper 50s as we get into Saturday afternoon, mid 60s as well, a good possibility, but more sunshine than anything else. Sunday morning, brisk 30s and 40s. The warm front from the storm system out west reaches us as we go into Sunday afternoon. Cloud-sun mixture for the most part. And then as that system leaves the area, we'll be looking for that new storm system to be coming our direction. And that's where we start winding up with a few more problems coming our way. I'm going to have to cut this a little bit short because we've got, again, to record our system, our weekend systems coming up here. Want to leave you with a couple bits of information, because as of right now, the bad news is that the temperatures of the sea surface in the Gulf, the Caribbean, and the Atlantic are exactly about where they should be for mid-July. That is very bad news. And if you haven't heard by now, the last thing I'm going to leave you with here is going to be, again, information about what is going on with our forecast. If I can find the information back. It was here just a second ago. There we go. From Colorado State University, the forecast for the hurricane season coming up is not looking great. Average over the last 30 years and the forecast for this year, notice that basically everything in the right-hand column is basically double from what we're looking at here. So this could be an incredibly active season coming up. Definitely want to keep it tuned to News 12. Colorado State has more at tropical.colostate.edu if you'd like to find out more on that. And finally, wrapping up, we'll get to the forecast here and we'll get out so our recording can take place. We see again patchy frost Saturday morning, and next week better chances of showers and maybe some thunderstorms, but some very mild temperatures into the course of the next several days. That'll wrap it up for tonight. Again, if you'd like to know more about what's going on, give us a shout at WDEF.com/weather on our website, and I'm on all these social media pages for more, and we'll have more on the tropical season coming up tomorrow on News 12 Weather Overtime. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga at News 12 on Broad Street, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. Thanks for joining us for Weather Overtime for Thursday night, and we'll see you tonight at News 12 at 11, and Chip Chapman has your forecast bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Thanks for joining us.